Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about a very exciting piece of new technology by Ace Studio, which is Ace Violin, an instrument that sits inside Ace Studio, which is already very well known for its excellent, I must say, AI singers. And I find it to be a turning point without sounding too dramatic. I think we could start saying our goodbyes to the sample libraries because this really is a game changer. There are still all sorts of glitches that needs to be ironed out. This is a beta version, but it already looks very, very promising. And in this video, I will share with you my findings and you can decide for yourself. Just a disclaimer, this video is not sponsored by any means by Ace Studio, but they were kind enough to send me a copy of this software for this review. That aside, let's dive in. So, the way I'm going to go about it is by playing you a MIDI mockup I've created using one instant of Kontakt running CineStrings Solo sample library, a decent library, and then we're going to take the exact same MIDI data and run it through Ace Studio so you can judge for yourself what sounds better. Here we go. And here's the exact same data running through Ace Studio. Well, I know which one I prefer. I feel it's like moving from 2D to 3D. It's that significant. You lose all the rigidness of the sample libraries and the machine gun effect that runs amok, especially in this part here. And if you ask me, it comes with a character. It sounds like it was recorded on vinyl or something. Now, of course, I would like it to be an option and not obligatory, but still, it sounds out of the box 10 times better than any sample library I've ever heard. I want to demonstrate another very important aspect of working with Ace Studio, and that is the ability to control the size of the ensembles. Right now, you've heard 12 players. If we have a look here at Ace Studio, for each one of these parts, I've loaded 3 different violin models. Each one has its own character, and by combining them, I have an overall 12 players ensemble here. I could just as well use less players or even more players. And that's the downside of Ace Studio, that it renders online. So it takes a lot of time. The more models you load, the more it takes time to re-render everything. And sometimes it even re-renders with no apparent reason. If I open and close a project, it re-renders it. It doesn't even save the last render. So all of this is a pain, but still listen to the result. This is how it sounds like when you have only 4 players, and for the sake of this demonstration, I've rendered all of these files. So you can hear this out of tune artifacts and all sorts of weird stuff going on, but here's a tip for using Ace Studio Violin. Never really use individuals currently. They don't sound as good as ensembles. Here are 8 players. This is significantly better. Now here are the 12 players we heard before. Now here's another interesting thing I found is that if you re-render the ensemble, you can stack it up to incredible numbers because it never really renders the same performance. Each one is different. So I've rendered 5 times 12 players, which supposedly should be sounding like 60 players. It's not. but it doesn't cancel out. So it doesn't totally add up, but it doesn't cancel out because it's not the same audio. You can see it here. If I will zoom in into the samples themselves, we need to move even further. You see, this is not the same wave shape. And it sounds like this. So not exactly 60 players, but it does sound very full. And again, here is the original Kontakt version. It sounds like plastic after you hear this, right? But let me know in the comment what you think. This is only my opinion. And I have tried to combine them both and found no good reason to do that because it sounds better without. So this is amazing if you ask me. I think it already changed the game. Now to wrap things up, I'm going to show you another very important feature in Studio standalone, not using the DAW, and its ability to record your own voice and then convert it to MIDI. If you use, the AI singers, it will also extract your lyrics, which is impressive. So here we go. La 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 la. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. And let's just drag it as it is to, unfortunately I cannot drag it into the instrument track. This feature is not available yet, so I'm gonna, do this. I'm gonna drag it into a singer track and then drag the MIDI into the instrument track. And it sounds like this. La, 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 la. A bit too low for a female singer. Let's take everything an octave higher. It needs to re-render online. Each little change you do, it takes too much. And I think that a really large project, it can sometimes be on the verge of being unusable. Currently, I'm still a happy camper and I think it's worth it. And maybe in the future, they will create a local version, maybe even with ARA extension within the VST realm. Ace guys, that will be amazing. So here is the female singer. It sounds like this. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la la la. She sounds terrible like me, so it's very convincing. But I can go inside and straighten everything I want and change the lyrics and whatever. But again, I'm not going to focus on this. I'm going to drag it out into the violin and let it render again. You see, I push the play and it renders. Beats me. Two more copies, which basically means it needs to re-render it again. You see 3 pieces it needs to render. And you can see the time it takes for this short piece. And then again, imagine what happens with a full piece for each correction you make. That's the downside. I would like to see local rendering if possible, more DAW-like editing tools within Ace, expanded instrument libraries. We want more. We want the woodwinds, the brass. I'll take everything in this technology. And deeper sound control, of course, with it, like more controls over the dynamics, the vibrato, of course, articulation. And I would be happy if I render the audio and reopen the project. I won't have to re-render it again. You might even consider giving us, like a separate Ace bridge per track in the DAW. That can also be very efficient. And of course, we can get it as a VST with an ARA extension inside the DAW. That will take it to a whole new level. I'm looking forward for the future. So thank you very much for watching this video. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about the sound? Which one do you prefer? And I'll see you in the next video.